Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Man, see that boxing video? I started boxing again. Man, am I out of shape? Let me put it out of shape, man. How many times I see? No, I'm not there yet.
There you go.
There we go.
And then you got to watch
It's a
the head
4-point
rush.
turn to get up.
The 6-point
Watch,
head up.
watch the head rush. That'll get you every time.
Yeah, same.
Right. Okay, I feel better.
How long does a boxing
Hour.
set? Oh,
But I do one-on-one, though.
right. That's what I'm saying.
You still doing this boxing club, those folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
Fight Club, they don't talk about it.
Oh, right.
That's right. Oh man, that's impressive.
Not impressive that I took 6 months off.
Yeah, but you're back to it.
And now you remember why?
Yeah, but think about how many people
Hey,
take this.
Sully, just get done boxing. I just tied my shoe.
Just lift it.
Actually, I ran up the stairs Padres every time this weekend. You know the
Did
big,
you?
know the big stairs?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about, the big stairs?
right.
Went all the way up.
Oh, good for you.
Going down is like
Oh.
this.
Behind Petco Park?
Yeah.
No, at this stage, going downstairs.
I'm always afraid of just doing a header. I mean, those things are kind of
Oh, yeah.
like a
Going
Mexican
down for me is just
pyramid.
because I have 2 knee replacements. And my knees don't hurt. I just think they're going to hurt.
Right.
So that's why I always go slower downstairs.
Hey, I had a. Thank you for bringing up the Padres game. I was thinking about this. I had a pretty profitable.
Me and the Padres
Yeah. No, the Padres did not.
we got swept.
Well-
Swept again.
I had a pretty profitable weekend. My daily betting platform is Prize Picks.
Oh.
So I was betting.
Daily betting
I always thought it was
platform.
Prize Pigs.
Yeah.
No,
me
Prize
too.
Pigs and radio.
Yeah.
But Prize Picks, and I was betting against the Padres.
You did?
Well, it was the Phillies, right?
Well, as long as you're
Phillies,
not a
yeah,
player.
because Garrett was in town.
I don't know. I don't bet against the Phillies ever.
No. But is the day and age quickly approaching where we're going to be able to sit at our seats at the Padres game in your box, and it's got to be right around the corner, right? The prop bet. Do you ever bet on sports?
I do not.
Yeah, but you're talking about, because do you remember, we can talk about this, because I want to talk about this because it's a great subject. There was a game on, it was called Cox Cable at the time, way back when,
Yeah.
and they had it was called QB1.
QB1.
My buddy's dad, Pat Downs, started QB1 right here in Carlsbad, by the way, where we brought. You might be watching us in the whole wide world, but right here in Carlsbad is where it started. QB1 was where you had a wireless device in your hand, believe it or not, wireless. Wow. This is 1993.
Was it
There
the size of a
are
brick?
no cords.
Oh yeah,
That must have been huge.
it was like this.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Hold on, I got a call.
Yeah. and the base was on the TV itself.
Yep.
According to the coax. Remember trying to get those?
Yeah.
things figured
Oh,
out?
yeah.
And you had a thing in your hand and you're watching Monday Night Football, only Monday Night Football. And you had to predict the next play.
No way.
No way.
Run, pass, interception, whatever. And they had a whole control room like our control. Jared, show me the control room that we have back there, because theirs was 6 times this size.
Yes.
A giant control room. There it is right there. Emmy Award-winning director Jared Coleman, doing nothing but standing around going.
Yeah.
And it was wildly popular. And then and
Absolutely.
they tried to add monetization to it, because you could gain points. You know, it gamified it.
Yeah.
It's just who was the best, whatever. That's all it was. And I think they won QB1 shirt at the end of the year or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was to say the fact that you say that on a proposition bet, meaning that bet on anything, curve, slider, fastball,
Well, home run, double, triple, error,
Ooh, that's
every
fun.
single play.
pop out every single play you can do it. Now, granted, if
Let's
you're
just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
totally.
I mean,
Have you ever passed the jar at a game where,
you mean the mason jar? Yes.
well, yeah, okay, besides that, but you know, someone has the jar and they put a buck in, and hey, I think Tatis is going to ground out for this at bat. And then if he does ground out, you take the kitty, the next person starts it, and it goes around and around. Well, sometimes that money builds up in that jar. So I think that it's a situation where it's got to be here. It's coming. It's right around the corner. There's no way they can keep it out.
Yeah, I agree.
That would make
I agree.
baseball more exciting.
Yeah.
You would have
I mean,
won a lot of jars last night.
I
because
would.
I think Tatis grounded out several times.
0 for 4.
Let's continue this, because I have an idea.
Okay. I'm in.
Because it doesn't have to do with money.
Without any.
It doesn't have to do with wagering. Big Biz Show. We're back in a second.
I bet on American Idol.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Big Biz Show, rolling on a beautiful day for the Loft 100 Studios. Everybody. Traffic on the 5.
I'm gonna bust you every time. Hey, Big Biz Show.
Start to pew a little bit. 5:05, 5 after 5, 55 before 6 on a beautiful Thursday in America's finest city.
Pretty good at that.
Bob from sales is going to stop in, bottom of the hour. Tell us about the big fundraiser coming up this week.
God, did you ever do mornings?
You've been doing this a long time.
You been boss jocking? We haven't. I've never was boss jocker.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Just every minute's got to be filled with, blah, 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 blah. It's just got to be filled with something.
Sweepers, rejoiners.
Oh, my God. Zing!
We were talking about consumer price index in a segment we like to call
Oh, that is
apparently
great.
Ask the dad from Wonder Years.
Was that the first? I was thinking it looked like every Russian mobster in every John Wick movie.
They need to put you in an Adidas tracksuit.
Exactly. in a yellow Lambo. So just we're talking consumer. If you're just joining us, we're talking about consumer price index and what's the easiest way to define it, and it's just monthly change in prices. It should be called the MCP.
Okay.
That's all it is. It tracks the changes that we paid for stuff from the previous month every month.
And it's related to inflation.
So what categories do they use? Groceries,
everything,
gas?
Everything. Nothing stripped out.
Really?
Well, food.
So then it's a percentage. It's not a number.
Now wait a second. Is this a CPI or is it consumer? Here's the deal. Consumer price index, however, this is interesting. Strips out. Let me see here. Let me make sure I'm saying the right one. I believe it strips out food and gas. Which is interesting because the producer price index says. Let me just see something. Hey, Jared, we have to.
Food like
only the two things we're most concerned about.
Right.
Food and gas.
Food and gas.
Right. It's got tennis balls in there.
Yeah.
It's got horseshoes. It's got horse manure. Yeah. But it doesn't have.
It removes food and gas because the cost of living index includes food and gas, which is the same.
Oh.
So basically, it's not a perfect inflationary measure, and the reason they take out food and gas in the consumer price index is because it's so volatile. Right? I mean, food and gas are like da-da-da-da-da. But it's probably the cost of living index includes food and gas is because like when you say put a budget together, most people do this. Rent, mortgage, gas and electric,
insurance,
streaming service,
cable, streaming.
Yeah.
I've got 5 of those.
That's it.
Lenardi's.
That's their consumer price index.
That's its whole line item.
Then that's their consumer price index, okay? But their cost of living index would include nail appointments.
He looks at me.
Nose hair removal appointments for Mike.
Oh, man. That's gotten really expensive. Hem care.
No, honestly, pet food. I mean, all the stuff. Like when you first sit down with your girls, and you've already done this, pardon me, like I have. When you first sit down with your girls and say, and you with the Bam Bam and Emma, the rock star, you're going to say, put together a budget, and they're going to put together a budget, and they're going to sit down and go, okay, wait a minute, what about? Because everybody forgets about it.
Because they don't know.
And when I first got into investment banking, people would come to me, and when I first got into radio, I'd say, I can find at least $300 a month from almost every household, at least $100 a month from every person per month that you're wasting. And I could, because people forget.
Yeah.
Especially now with subscription services.
Oh, how many?
I mean, it's crazy how many.
When I go on my passwords and there's 7 Netflix. I mean, honestly, that's how it goes. So
we just did the, and I forget who it is, but you can sign up and they go through everything that your credit card is attached to, and then they send you a report like, you were subscribing to this. Did you know that? You're doing this and that. It is liberating. It's like throwing old clothes away or de-junking your house, decluttering. Yeah. Doing that with a credit card attached to, like you said, why do all of us have a Hulu subscription? Why aren't, that type of thing?
Yeah.
I need my Hulu, though.
You save.
I need my Hulu, too.
I mean, let's not cut that out.
When I look, but here's the thing is, and this is what happens, is we become, we want instant gratification, so we're on the, the TV, and I want to watch this movie right now.
Yes.
Like I wanted to watch Game Day the other day because it's draft night. I love that movie. Kevin Costner. I haven't watched it in freaking 3 years. I want to go in there and take a look at the freaking thing, and I'm like, I get into it. And I forgot and so I had to go to open up a thing with Paramount or Peacock. Yeah. So I got a Peacock thing.
There are people that work the system.
I wish I didn't have to do it.
I don't know. I can't do
it. I don't have time to do it. So.
Yeah, true.
So there
your password.
And instant gratification. I want to watch it now.
So, long story short, that's what's happening. And yes, it's all a measure of inflation.
Okay, and the Federal Reserve, they just had this big meeting, inflation.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve has meetings.
What's going on?
Has meetings often, and of course Jerome Powell is the chairman of the Federal Reserve. You can go back to Alan Greenspan, going to Ben Bernanke, going to Janet Yellen in our recent history. Inflation. Let's talk about interest rates. Interest rates are its highest they've been in 23 years.
Wow.
23 years. And in fact, Chloe was not born last time our interest rates were where we kept them.
Lucky.
Highest in 23 years. So the Fed will do something. The Fed is charged with really 3 things: maximum employment, steady prices, and low interest rates. That's what they're actually right on the website. We'll say the first 3 things. This is what we do. Okay. The thing about the Fed was initiated. I can't remember the exact year, but I think it was in the 20s or the 30s. But it was very wealthy families in this country, Carnegies, Vanderbilts, Rockefellers, went to Jekyll Island, got together and created, we own most of the money. We need to figure out how to control. So they got together with some Washington congressmen, and they created what was called the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is not a federal agency. It is overseen by Congress. But nobody really knows who owns the Fed, and nobody knows how much they own. It is highly suspected that the banks that use the Fed are the owners of the Fed. Okay, so let me get this for you. Remember when interest rates right now are between 5.25 and 5.5 discount window rate. Okay, it was at 0 or less than 0 at one point 5 years ago. Wow. Does anybody have a 5%? Anybody buying a home today? Can you get a 5% interest rate?
Nope.
No. Anybody who has a car loan, 5%?
Nope.
Buy a credit card rate?
Nope.
Pretty good scam, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would suggest everybody read The Creature from Jekyll Island about the Fed, since you brought it up. You're going to see interest rates higher longer, BQ4 before they start cutting rates. One of the strategies for the Fed is that they keep interest rate high to stave off inflation. They want you to stop spending money on your credit card.
Yes.
Okay. Keep in mind that discount window rate, okay, the discount window rate is a rate that the banks are charged by the Fed to borrow money, okay? So the Feds are the borrowers, they're paying 5%, and they're charging you guys for your stuff, all right? Now, this doesn't affect mortgages and the reason I brought up mortgages anyway was because the 30-year long bond affects mortgages, but it affects savings rates for elderly, so it hurts. It helps savers, but it hurts credit cards, hurts auto loans, hurts those types of things, and increases up prices. The biggest concern is stagflation. You know what stagflation is?
No, I do not.
I want you to add unemployment. Let's talk about the worst storm you could have, you know, in business. How about slow growth? Okay, so we're not seeing growth. High unemployment and inflation equals stagflation. The Fed insists we are not in a period of stagflation, which is the most dangerous condition we could be in, which we're probably not because things are starting to come around.
Right.
But they're going to keep this thing at 5.25, 5.5 till the end of the year, and they're going to try to make it painful so we stop spending money.
Well, they also didn't they, or they've also redefined what a recession is.
No,
no.
This
Okay,
administration.
Excuse me, that's what I meant to say.
More Big Biz coming up.
In over 175 countries and all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network, Big Biz rolls on. Costa, Marybird Godwin, our executive producer, Greg Todoroff. We're carrying on without Sully today. He will be back here shortly, just feeling a little under the weather. Joining us now is somebody who will, I think, in the not-too-distant future, become a hero to me because of the technology he is part of and the way he is changing people's lives. Paul Hickey is the president and CEO of ReShape Lifesciences, stock symbol RSLS. All their information is right there at reshapelifesciences.com. And Paul joins us once again here on the Big Biz Show. Paul, how you doing? Are you a father? If you are, a belated Happy Father's Day.
I am. I got 4 children, so thank you much for that. Again, a great day yesterday, hopefully for a lot of fathers across the country.
4 children, that explains the fact that there's not a lot of hair on top of your head.
That's where it went.
We absolutely understand. Paul, for those who are joining us for the first time, and I think we've said it before, we say it a lot, you know, the audience is always changing, always growing. And I'm sure that there's more than one person out there who is going to hear what you're going to talk about here on the Big Biz Show and say, well, hey, wait a second, that's something that I think I could use in my life. Talk about the lap band system.
Yeah, I think to take a half step back, you know, obesity is this chronic disease that, you know, millions across the U.S. and globally are afflicted with. And it's coming of age in terms of awareness because of all of the impact of the big pharma marketing GLP-1, the Wegovy, Ozempic, and Zepbound. So the upside for that in ReShape's case is we're a medical device that primarily our flagship product is the lap band, which is essentially a less invasive technology to go around the stomach and sort of like a zip tie, I think as Sully used in the last episode and show that I spoke at. And this restraint on the top of the stomach allows for food to be passed, but at a much more restrained rate. So the analogy I use is taking a 5-6 lane highway, which is your esophagus, and tightening that highway down to 1 or 2 lanes to restrict food, restrict calorie intake, and ultimately, for the life of the patients, achieve weight loss.
Paul, and I'm not sure if you know I don't know if you have the answer, you have the crystal ball, but the obesity epidemic that is worldwide, and especially here in the United States, is it because we are able to get things instantly and at our fingertips, and conversely, there's moms and dads, there's guardians and stuff who are so busy now trying to make ends meet, trying to make life better for families that it's, hey, I've got to go through the drive-through tonight for dinner because I didn't have a chance to get home and cook a healthy meal. Is that the paradigm we're kind of dealing with?
Sure, I think it's multifactorial, and you know, I think the reason the CDC classified obesity as a disease over 10 years ago is because of the complexity of the disease. Certainly, there's no doubt in my mind it's driven by the food industry. Everyone's searching for that last French fry at the bottom of the bag from a drive-through. There's certainly tailwind from mental health issues, which we know are prevalent for both adolescents and adults alike. But it goes, I think, a little deeper than that as well. Once the body changes its hormone imbalance and you start to become obese and disease takes hold, it is something that's extremely difficult to get rid of. The analogy is kind of an oncologist would treat a cancer patient, not as a one and done, but sort of as a lifelong cancer patient, similar to someone who's obese, and certainly the morbidly obese. When they go get treatment, they're going to need an armamentarium to go after this disease, and that's where Lap-Band comes in as one of the options.
Paul, before meeting you a few weeks or months ago, I heard you just we all kind of knew the term tummy tuck from, I don't know, the 80s. I don't know when that became a thing, but this is different. And I'm fascinated by this because I was reading, the term non-anatomy altering. So you're not changing that. So can you talk, you alluded to it earlier when you were describing how it works, but can you talk about that? Because I think that is a really good point.
Yeah, and you touched on, the most popular procedures actually are more aggressive in terms of they change your anatomy. The gastric sleeve, or the stapling, as it was called, is essentially taking out 80% of your stomach and leaving just a little bit of a pouch. The gastric bypass, the most aggressive procedure in terms of anatomy altering, does essentially reroutes the plumbing. The Lap-Band doesn't change the anatomy in terms of cutting it or redefining it. All we do is constrict the top of the stomach just south of the esophageal stomach junction. So in that way, it's reversible. The other thing, which I didn't mention in my last description, it's actually adjustable. So if you're a patient that just received a Lap-Band and you're 1 or 2 years out and you decide, I'm not losing enough weight, the physician can actually inject fluid into the system and actually squeeze down on the top of the stomach even more to restrict your food intake. And vice versa, if you're heading off to a wedding or a woman in childbearing years and you don't want to restrict nutrition, you can actually extract the fluid and loosen up the band around the stomach.
Paul Hickey, the president CEO, ReShape Lifesciences. NASDAQ symbol is RSLS, the website to check it out, reshapelifesciences.com.
So, Paul, I'm going to keep diving questions. I'm very fascinated by this. So how long does it take to see a desired effect?
Great question.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's just like I mentioned, it's entirely dependent on the individual. I think that the medical society is getting more sophisticated in terms of trying to define what types of obesity based on your phenotyping. But you can have, 2 different people who are both obese at the same level in terms of the same BMI and go about treating them in the same fashion and have different outcomes. So it's not just the surgery that you need to have. It's also obviously you're sort of changing your diet, changing your lifestyle, and other help potentially that people may need. So in terms of desired effect, the hope is that within the first several months to a year, you're seeing a pretty large impact on your weight, and that continues throughout your lifetime. And probably the most important thing is once you reach your weight loss goal, is sustaining that goal over time and not letting the disease sort of bounce back and ultimately have additional weight loss that you have to take on with the second wave of obesity.
And Paul, what is the addressable market?
Oh, it's, I would say ginormous, but it's absolutely.
I'm sure it's going to blow our mind, but statistically speaking.
That kind of hurts, Paul. Yeah. That hurts. I'm standing right here.
Well, I think you can look at percentages and know that, and I don't want to say look to your left, look to your right, but ultimately it's in the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. will be obese, and globally that figure is roughly the same. And the most concerning part is it's the adolescent and childhood obesity, which you imagine, for Lap-Band, we're approved for 18 and older, but for those kids who are unfortunately getting this disease at an earlier age, it's hard to contemplate surgery. So, but there is a need to jump in and at an early age and get ahead of this thing.
Wow. Paul Hickey, the president and CEO, ReShape Lifesciences, RSLS, NASDAQ symbol. check it all out. Check all the great things they are doing at ReShapeLifesciences.com. Paul, really appreciate it. Can't wait to get you. The Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, thank you for being along for the ride as usual. Mike Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, our executive producer, Greg Todorov, and behind the bar, Sully. Back.
Oh my gosh. So you'll notice that we are all wearing very fashionable lenses. In fact, Greg earlier and Mike were doing a photo shoot for the Highlander here in San Diego, and their poses were like this. Mike was doing this one.
The Highlander. Wow.
Great to have you along today. 110 million TV homes strong, thanks to BizTV, American Life Network, and of course, American Forces Radio Network in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. God bless our military men and women for serving our country overseas and underways, and thanks to our friends at AFM. Paul Travers is the CEO and president of Vuzix. Their stock symbol VUZI, and you've heard about the Vuzix smart glass. Is it a smart pair of glasses?
Yes.
Is that what we call it, smart glasses?
That's exactly what they call it.
So what I am seeing here, and hopefully Jared can bring up some B-roll of this, is I'm looking at a demo of what it would look like if I were in let's say a Costco, and I wanted to scan an item that I was looking for.
Okay.
It tells me the aisle it's on, the price it's on, how many are left. I can go right there. Or the next demo shows that I am in the operating room, and there was a lateral incision made on this patient. This is their blood pressure. This is their pulse rate, so on and so forth. And then they have a demo where I could actually turn counterclockwise 90 degrees a faucet, and then suddenly it shows everything about it. And Paul, I'll let you take it from there, because I can tell you, first of all, they're cool looking, number one. You can't tell them any difference in a pair of reading glasses. And I'm sure that was the idea.
Yeah, and we put enough power in them so they could do things like that streaming video. You're in the operating theater, you're learning how to do open heart surgery. That requires processing power that's pretty significant. So these guys are designed to go to work. They're relatively expensive, but this was the first iteration of smart glasses that we used our waveguide optics in.
And to explain waveguide optics.
Well, so when you put these on, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you've not been in a fighter pilot's cockpit, but
not many times.
But let me tell you that they have this really
I was in the real seat once. Did you get to go do that?
In a rear?
No. In the ordnance seat. I was in the ordnance seat once. Boy, I thought something.
Your Mario show?
Yeah, I never want to do that again.
No.
I remember the first 10 seconds.
Oh.
Then the 50 to 10 seconds, and then passed out again, and then it landed. It was fantastic.
It sounds like somebody was having fun with it.
Oh, they were.
Let me say that when the pilot looks up and through his windshield, he sees floating up in front of him, just like the heads-up display on a high-end car, right? This stuff floats out in front of you. A waveguide allows you to do that, but in really tiny form factors like these pair of glasses. So the front end of these things, you can see they look strikingly like regular glasses.
They do, because I'll tell you what happened, honestly. Before the show, we decided we're all going to get on the air and put these glasses on for the show. And Mary picked up, or somebody picked up, Paul's reading glasses, thinking they were the same thing. Because if you look at them, you wouldn't look twice, really.
These next generation glasses are designed to work with your phone, like a smartwatch works with a phone today.
These would work with my phone?
That's designed to work with your phone. That's right.
So different apps on the phone.
Different apps on the phone. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming from companies like the Googles of the world around AI. They're, excuse me, you imagine Alexa AI, Amazon's AI tools, all that stuff is going to be integratable through your phone. And you can imagine the best way to use that AI information is through a head-worn pair of glasses. It's not going to be through your phone. Hold the phone up, use the AI, have the camera running down the street, no way. People will put the glasses on, they'll walk down the street, paint it on the road in front of you, the directions and where to go next.
Whoa.
None of this stuff where you get your head jammed in your phone.
I'm lost. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going.
Right, and the other piece of it was the fact that you mentioned earlier, like an app that would do an automatic translate. Someone's speaking Italian to me, and all of a sudden it comes out as English, or someone speaking English, it comes out as
Not to interrupt you, but your buddy Mike just sent you a file and an email to your phone. As you guys are talking, it's in my display, word for word, and then it pops up in the upper left. It says, Mike, I'm not going to say his last name, has just sent you a file.
Because you're paired to his phone right
Paired
now.
to his phone, yeah.
Stand out. Hold up. Guys, can we get a water for Paul, please? I got the time here. We're going to add another 30 seconds to this. No, we're good. Let's start with water. Let's start with water before we medicate the guest. You're never leaving.
I was going to say that Jack Daniels probably better.
47.15. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it would be.
This will help.
Break it out.
That's why a smart company called, or fast company called it business with a barroom slant, or was that Wall Street?
Mhm.
Okay, let's go in 15, add 45 to it, 53, 45 out.
53 what?
45.
That bottle's not fake if you really do want a little glass of Jack Daniels.
No, I'm
okay.
good. I'm
Three, two. So my question is going to be this: is that if you think in terms of the AR space,
yes,
and the AI space, and the fact that you've got iVision Pro from Apple, that will allow you to do much like in the movie Vanilla Sky, moving around components on your computer, mixing music, or typing into a Word document or whatever. This fits in more of real life.
Yeah,
is that kind of the demarcation?
There's two ways to approach this problem. One is like HoloLens and Apple Vision Pro and Magic Leap. They put every single thing, including the kitchen sink, in those glasses. The problem is they're not really very usable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Listen, I've demoed a pair of those things because Apple is thankfully a partner here, and the problem is unless I'm sitting next to my computer, now I can be in a different room, but it's not like I can walk down the street and do anything with it.
That's right.
I mean, they show people walking down the street going like this. That's garbage. Unless they're just playing music, and what they're basically doing is adding an extra step to play music.
Yeah, and you're walking around. Look, I love the Apple Vision Pro. I'm not trying to be
looks
negative,
like I'm underwater.
but it's not designed for the mass market.
It's not.
Designed for that full-up spatial computing.
Yes.
That's going to happen in glasses that look like this, but it's going to take some time to get there. Right. Between now and then, these glasses are highly functional right now, and they're fashion forward.
Do I dock these somewhere to charge them?
There's a
Is there a port for them?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Oh,
and,
right there.
And the point is, so if we brown bag label this thing, otherwise called OEM, okay, original equipment manufacturer.
Yep.
If you OEM this to a company, let's say like IBM, or a company like even Apple at some point, although they would have their own design team. Are you guys interfaced to the point where you got your best practices infrastructure in here? Bring me what you got in terms of AI, AR.
We can. One of the most difficult parts, again, is this waveguide technology and the display engines that work with it. And Vuzix has that down. We've been at this for 26 years now, Sully.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of experience in the optics that go into these kinds of glasses. Rochester, New York happens to be an optics center of the world. University of Rochester, Eastman Kodak Company, Xerox. So yes, we know how to turn a design from soup to nuts in like a couple of months. So you can come in, I want it to look like this. We can spin the design, and then our manufacturing plant right now, probably within a month of that, it's cranking them out. And that plant floor is set up for 1 million waveguides a year right now.
Okay, so by the way, I'm visiting Paul Travers. Paul Travers is the CEO and president of Vuzix. VUZI is their stock symbol. And if you want to check them out online, it's easy. You just go to vuzix.com, VUZIX.com. So let's talk about as you launch it, and we'll talk about when your consumer products can launch in just a second here. But before there, what order do you want to launch? Do you want to see this hit the market to where it's not so overwhelming that people are going to put it away and say, like, I think iVision is a bit overwhelming for the average Johnny Lunch bucket. You're right. This is spatial computing for guys that are working at NASA.
And it needs to be as simple as wearing a smartwatch.
It does. No, it's got to be intuitive.
Right.
These are really intuitive. That's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yes.
And like 30 seconds in this thing, I got it.
Oh, it's simple. Yeah.
Right. So what order do you want to see that level of technology hit the market?
We've always been in the boat where you got to prove it. Like 26 years later,
prove a concept.
Very few people have been successful at this industry. And so we've built the glasses, and the reason for that is that we could build a business in the enterprise side of the business.
Right.
But it helped us fine-tune the optics, the technology that goes into it, and get to the point to where we could supply into the broader big markets. The manufacturing facility that we've built, unlike our competitors that uses standard semiconductor process equipment, we are optics people. We're not semiconductor people, so we built custom equipment. To make a
That's a big difference. That's a big difference.
1 million waveguides a year, which, by the way, is the tip of an iceberg of what's needed. Every 6 seconds, one of these little waveguides has to come off the production line.
Right.
That's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And guess what? The numbers that, it's smartwatch kind of numbers. There's 300 million smartwatches that sold last year.
Yeah.
Right? You need a whole lot more than even 1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And these waveguides sell from 25, let's say, to $50 from Vuzix with really nice margin built in. None of our competitors can get close because it's either 400 steps to make their waveguide or it's semiconductor equipment that is very much run rate limited. So we're in a really good spot to deliver in high volume. So what we're doing is we're making the reference designs. We're going to bring them to market appropriately, and then we're partnering with people like Quanta. We have a press release we put out in November, I think, of last year. They're one of the biggest ODM partners out there today. They supply to Apple, Lenovo. You pick your poison.
Stay right there. We're going to keep going for a second. I want to talk about consumer launch and places and where. And does this look like? Remember when they introduced us to the Macintosh computer, and then
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
Are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
The Loft 100 Studios, sunny Southern California, the Big Biz Show. Mike Costa, Maribor Godwin, Craig Todorov, Sully.
Great to have you along today. 150 million TV homes strong, or 125 or 100. What if it was just like 10 million TV homes? Still
Why
pretty
not?
impressive. Thanks to our good friends at American Forces Radio Network, formerly called AFARTS, American Forces Radio Television Services.
Yes.
When we first got on American Forces, it's called American Forces Network now. We first got on them 16 years ago. Oof. It was called AFARTS.
AFARTS.
American Forces Radio Television Services. Not just AFN. And listen to the DTC. We are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advance. Better science, better results. Bayer is not aspirin. This Bayer Advance you sprinkle on the lawn.
I learned the hard way.
Cheerios. Yeah, Mike has a twitch ever since then. Starbucks Coffee is a sponsor. Starbucks Coffee, they've got one in every corner. I'm hopped up on some right now. Woo. Mike snorted some right before the show. Bloomin' Brands and their fine family of restaurants, including Fleming Steakhouse and Outback Steakhouse with their authentic Australian food.
Oh, yes.
Paul Travers, our guest, CEO and president of Vuzix. Vuzix is publicly traded under the stock symbol VUZI. VUZI, you can go to Vuzix.com. That's VUZI X.com. And we're looking at the sumptuous inventory of smart glasses. And it begs to ask you, when do we expect to launch? Because I'm going to get 1,000 emails tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Asking us, because you've been on there before. We had a lot of emails. When are these coming out? When are these coming out? Like even that model with the brushed stainless steel in the front and the black ones on the side. I mean, they're just cool looking glasses. When are we looking at these for public consumption?
The enterprise business is already shipping today.
Really?
Unfortunately, that's a bit of a lumpy business. It takes time for deployments to happen, right? So. But it's happening, and it's growing, and we've got a nice pipeline of business. The fall of the year should look pretty good. The OEM side of the business and the broader market side of the business, all that should be unfolding over the next, let's say, 1 year.
And those contracts are being made right now in
Yes.
the context, because basically you're serving a community that's serving the public at that point. That's a B2B play, right?
Right. And some of these guys we're further along with. Some were just getting started. You know, when you design something from the ground up and you put some other company's name on the side of it, they're industrial design people. Everybody gets in the mix, right? So it takes some time.
When you do OEM, is that criteria specific for that particular customer, or do you blue sky a design or evergreen a design that can be attached to a couple different places by switching a few things around?
We have standard offerings that are so easy for us to adjust so that the next XYZ customer can get just with some simple changes. For instance, these guys are pretty sport looking. With them tinted, you'd be out riding your bike.
Yeah, right. True.
That pair is like a pair of Ray-Bans.
Greg's not taking those off.
No, I'm going to walk out with
pretty
these
cool in them. You gotta
accidentally.
Yes, each one of these has its own waveguide. But that said, the broader market, the mission is sexy, fashion forward.
Yeah.
We OEM to a bunch of other companies today. The defense markets today are going to be a great big opportunity for Vuzix. And in those cases, defense they're quite unique, each one. You got a guy that's using them maybe in a helicopter or an aircraft. You got a guy that's using them in a suit to defuse bombs. You got guys that are using them for foot soldiers. You got guys that are looking at advanced night vision systems. You got guys that are integrating thermal cameras with the glasses.
Yeah.
So you can walk through a building in a fire and navigate.
But the other thing is, these are not as cost prohibitive as the ones they're flying an F-18 stealth bomber with. And the idea is you're going to get to that point with the military and procurement where cost is going to come up. There's no more $120,000 ashtrays on some of these on some of these transport planes.
There's a broader market side of every industry that doesn't get served. I mean, the HUD that you were just describing is $400,000 or $500,000 a HUD.
Wow.
They're so expensive that that elite aircraft is the thing that gets it. But there's plenty of other places that if it could be done at a lower price, it could be there.
The with respect to the B2C market, people are going to be distribution points. People are going to go online to buy them. Or is that going to be marketed through in our OEM, and that'll be the way it goes?
We have a few different models, but when we start working with our ODM partners, they have a pile of customers that have their own go-to-market strategies, and they're either connected to the Verizons and the mobile side of the world, or they have direct sell on the web. I mean, each one of them has their own plan. You will see Vuzix offer. We're not trying to compete with our customer. What we're trying to do is show them how it's done.
Right.
So you will see us offer some of these products in the fall of the year and going into next year. Most of that will probably be done on our website and select OEMs that might be putting their white label name on the side.
I'm sort of a dandy fella. Can you put him in a monocle? For special order people?
Excuse me, sorry.
That's my cost.
That's okay. Yeah, Mike says furthermore a lot.
Yeah, he does.
We definitely could do that. We definitely could do that.
Last of all, just as I want to bring it up, is your last press release talking about strategic partnership to talk about full color optical.
Yeah.
This is where this is going. Talk about this real quick before we let you out of here.
100%. Today, these glasses, all of them have a technology in them called micro LED. You know, you got most of these are OLED style.
Sure, the monitors.
Yeah, the monitors, right? They don't get bright enough. Maybe they can get to 10,000 nits of light.
Right.
You need 1 million nits of light to do this. And so micro LED, that's what's in here. These guys will run for 2 days on a charge, Sully.
Yeah. Wow.
But color's not available yet. Between now and when color micro LED is, there's another series of chips that several companies in Asia have just come out with that are LCOS based. They're front lit, like projection, style, things like a barcode projector that you might have at home.
Right.
But they're tiny. You put a red, a blue, and a green LED, you shine it onto that thing. It's a little bit bigger than this, but it'll provide full color. It will not be as good as micro LED, but it's going to be pretty hot, and it's going to get us there until micro LED is available.
I cannot wait to see what's next for you guys. His name, Paul Travers, CEO and President of Vuzix.